Hey you guys, it's me, and since my poetry book came out today, I thought it would be fun to go over my publishing plan for my next book. And normally I have notes in a notebook and on my phone, and then I'm transferring dates to my planner. But the problem I've been having is sometimes I'm flipping the page and it's like, surprise, you have something to do today, and I'm not mentally prepared. And so last month I saw an author who had a spreadsheet thing with all the different steps that she goes through to get a book together and get it out into the world. And so I thought it would be super beneficial if I had a spreadsheet thing with all the steps that I go through, and I thought it would help keep me a little bit more on top of things. And since I like to be organized and since I like to make lists, I thought it would also be super fun. And so I'm going to take a screenshot of what I made. I just use Microsoft Word. And then I also have my hard copies here. So I'm just going to go over what's on the list and why. And yeah. And so on one side I have the stage, and the other side I have the date that I want to have this step completed by. So first step obviously is first draft, and this is the date I think I can finish the first draft by without stressing myself out, because we don't want to cause ourselves any unnecessary stress. After that I have hire a cover designer, and this is just me sending an email to my cover designer and booking a date, because sometimes my cover designer is booked several months in advance. So after that I have hire editors with an S. I did an experiment one time where I just worked with one editor, and it was the most stressful editing experience of my life, so I'm not going to do that again. And so normally I like to work with a content editor and a line editor and then a separate proofreader, because sometimes when your editor is focused on your content and every single little line, especially with problems that come up multiple times, sometimes they miss things. And so I like to have a separate proofreader to kind of go in and clean up anything the previous editor missed. It just gives me a peace of mind, and I like things to be, as clean as possible. So this step would be me, again, with the cover designer, sending out emails and getting on their schedule. And this will also keep me from dragging my feet between steps. And also I love editing, so I look forward to this. Okay, next I have announced release date, and this is when I like to set and submit my release date, because one, it gives me an exciting day to look forward to, and also it lets me know that I have plenty of time to get everything done. And also in case something goes wrong with one of the editors, because that's also happened before. This way I can see that I have plenty of time, and so that therefore I won't stress myself out. And also it's fun to have a date set in stone to look forward to, and then it helps with planning and things of that nature. So after this I have blurb draft, and this is when I write the first version and the early versions of my back of the book description and the online description. Sometimes I do this earlier, I don't wait for a specific time to do this, but if I haven't done it yet, then I like to pick a day and go ahead and get it done and knock it out, so that I have something to work with, so that it doesn't sneak up on me, and I have plenty of time to get it as exciting sounding as I can. So after this I have contact beta or betas, and then underneath it says optional. And the reason why this is optional is it depends on what kind of editors I'm working with, my confidence level and my editors, and also my own personal confidence level in the story, and also where my betas are doing. Because I talk to them on a pretty regular basis, I tend to know when they're knee deep in editing, if they're beta reading something else, if they're taking a break, if they're drafting. And I don't want to bother people if they are editing. And sometimes I know it's if I ask them, they probably would say, oh no, it's no problem. But I know when the tables are turned and I'm editing and somebody's like, hey, can you read this? I feel stressed. Yes, I want to help them, but I also feel stressed. And also it's it's not always helpful for me to have a beta reader, and since every writer is different, there are some writers that find it beneficial to have multiple beta readers, 20 something beta readers. And the most amount of beta readers I think I've had at one time is 3, and I've personally never found it beneficial to have multiple beta readers, and I don't like to waste anyone's time. Anyway, if I'm going to have a beta reader, this is when I will contact them to see if they are available. And yeah. So next I have a workshop blurb, and this is not optional. I get as much feedback as I can because I want it, you know, I want the book description to be as exciting as I can make it, and I would prefer if the people I'm asking for feedback for on my book description, if they're not familiar with my book, because I've noticed, just like again with me personally, if I know what the book is about and then I read their blurb, if there's something that doesn't make sense, I don't really know that because I'm familiar with the story. So I like people who aren't familiar with my book to give me feedback on my book description. After this, I have first edit, and this is the date I want to have my first edit completed by. And this is just, you know, me going over the book. You know, I say first edit, but it might be multiple edits. It just like depends on how the first edit went, because sometimes like at some point in the process I read my book aloud, and so sometimes I do this after the first edit, and sometimes I do it like after line editing, or sometimes I do it at some point during the proofreading stage. But so that's why I just have first edit on here. So this is a date that I want to have my first edit completed by. So next I have marketing plan, and this is just when I want to have a decision made on like what kind of marketing I'm going to be doing. So therefore I know who I need to contact, and, you know, send emails out, and again, get on people's calendars and get things scheduled in, because if you're working with promotion companies, for example, you usually have to get in months in advance. So therefore, you know, I need to know what I'm doing so that I know when I need to get things done by. Yeah. And after this, I have finalized blurb. I'm not really sure why I put this on here. I think I just wanted a date to make sure that my blurb is finalized by, so that by the time I work with the cover designer, you know, like I have that done, and I'm not like I don't have like pressure on myself, and I don't have to like pester anybody I'm getting feedback from to like go ahead and like read my email. Like this is just to like make sure like I build in enough time to like get kind of like that finalized with minimal stress. After that, I have contact promotion companies. So if I'm going to work with a promotion company, this is a date I want to have contacted them by. Again, to make sure that I can get on people's schedules on a date that works best for me and works best for everybody. So if I'm going to work with a beta reader, this is when I will send my story to the beta reader, and I try to give people usually I try to give people a month. So again, this says optional because it's contingent on whether or not I decided I'm going to have betas in the first place. So this is the date I need to have my first edit done by, so that I can send it to the beta readers so that they have enough time to read it with minimal impact on their personal schedules. So after this is the date I want to do my cover reveal, and so obviously this is after the cover is finalized, and so this will be a date that's after, you know, at least a month after I work with my cover designer. I just realized I skipped a line, and that is beta feedback. And again, I said if needed, and this is like if I do get a beta, and then this will be the date I want to have their feedback completed by, so that I know I can get like any more changes done to my book done before I send it like to my like professional editor. So then I have line and content edits, and I prefer to do this at the same time, because therefore I can like really get in my story and go through their notes and go through my story and like make all the changes that I want to make on the story, and fix all the things that I can, and get everything like as clean as possible for the proofreader. And so this is the date I want to have that done by, which is of course going to depend on how much time they need on their end and how many rounds of editing I am doing with the content and line editor. So next I have proofreading, and this is when the date that I'm planning on having my book back from the proofreader, and then I will apply those changes to my document. And so then after the proofreading is done, that's when I like to do the formatting. For the most part, formatting is pretty easy for me. The hardest decisions are always decor, in like the, you know, the part of the book that matters the least, honestly. So after formatting, I like to do my final read through, and this is when I like to use a Kindle previewer. I like to use the Paperwhite previewer because it puts it in like a different like format, and so it's like reading an ebook, and so I can kind of see things better, and then I can like catch like a formatting mistake, or like, you know, missing words, and like just stray things easier this way. And also it gives me kind of like a feeling of reading the book, and so I can like relax and like just read my book without like worrying about making changes. So after this, I will order proofs. And I put the as in parentheses because sometimes I just get like one proof to like just go through and make sure the physical book looks okay, and like I didn't do anything weird like on like the copyright page, because that has happened. I've actually had the wrong book title on a copyright page one time, and so, you know, this is just to make sure like everything's lined up the way it's supposed to be. And then also I get to see my book in physical form, and then if there are any more changes to make, then I make changes from there. But there's usually like a delay between like where I order my proofs and they actually come in for me to check them, so that's why that's on two different lines. So I have a date that I want to order proofs by, and then I have a date that around the time I think they'll come in, and give myself time to like go through them and see if I need to make any other changes and like re-upload files. And if I do, then I go through that process again where I order another proof and then I check that one. But if everything's okay with the first one, it normally is, that's when I upload my files to all the platforms, because I usually just start with Amazon because I can order like a physical proof copy from them and it usually comes in relatively quickly. So once I'm happy with everything, that's when I'll upload my files to all the ebook platforms and Ingram Spark, and I will get my pre-order set up. And at this point, I'm pretty much 100% done. Like once I get everything uploaded, I'm done, and I wait until I'm happy and I'm not making any changes to upload files everywhere, because I've been in a situation where I have to upload files, like re-upload files everywhere, and it's just kind of tedious. So yeah, so even if the pre-order doesn't go live yet, because sometimes, you know, I may not want, like if everything's done like 6 months in advance, I may not want a 6-month pre-order, but everything will be uploaded, and then to set it for pre-order, all I have to do is like click a button. But yeah, at this point, you know, I know when my book is coming out, I know when I want the pre-order to start, and then like Amazon, you know, I don't think you can have like longer than like a 3-month pre-order anyway. Yeah, and then I just have like miscellaneous buffer time, and this is something the other author that she put on her schedule, like just to make sure she had room in case something went wrong, and so I thought that was a really good idea. And then the last one is just the release date. This is just where I will put my official release date, which I'll probably fill out before I fill out a lot of these other lines. So that's all for this video. Hopefully it was interesting, and happy birthday to Garden of Ravens, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.